Hare Krishna devotees, Prabhujis and Matajis. Welcome to today's class. We shall be finishing up with chapter 2 today, contents of Bhagavad Gita summarized or Bhagavad Gita Saransh. So we have already covered, Hare Krishna Mata. We have already covered most part of this. Initially, Arjuna again continues from first chapter about his doubts, 5 reasons not to fight, 4 reasons were given in chapter 1, and last reason, the indecision, was given here in the chapter 2. And then he gives a gyan that the spiritual knowledge or transcendental knowledge that you are not going to kill the soul, which is, he enumerated about 26 qualities or attributes of the soul, that your soul is not affected, it is eternal, it is primeval, it is not indestructible, it is imperishable, does not mutate. All these kind of properties were mentioned by Lord Krishna to convince Arjuna that he is not going to kill soul. When soul is not killed, person is just simply changing dress. The body is changing dress. The soul is just changing dress, because this body is ultimately to pass on to the stage of old age and ultimately vanish. That is, it dwindles at the last stage, and there is disease dwindling and ultimately vanishing. So this is what Krishna advises him. Then he gives him Buddha Yoga. He reminds him of his duty as a Kshatriya. And secondly, it was a religious duty for a Kshatriya to fight and kill the inimical enemy. And thirdly, because Lord Krishna was saying that you should fight. So that is a supreme condition. And then, of course, he gets confused when Lord Krishna says, be transcendently situated in me, be sthit pragya, and then fight. So he is confused. What is this sthiti pragya? Then he puts a question. What are the symptoms? How does he sit? How does he speak? What language he speaks? How does he walk? So these questions are put by, part of which we have already covered in our previous section. So let us pray to Shri Radha Gopinji. Om Agyan Timirandhasya Gyananjan Shalakya Chakshururmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedant Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshatarine. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapte Kanchan Gauragi Shri Radhe Vrindavan Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hare Piye. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Welcome, dear devotees, Prabhujis and Mataji in that Pram. So I just now said the Panchatattva prayer. Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta. These are 5 tattvas. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Mahaprabhu, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advait Thakur, Shri Advait Gadadhar Pandit, and Shri Vasa. Adi Gaur Bhaktivedanta. Adi devotees are the devotees of Vaishnava devotees. So we pray to all the 5 tattvas. And yesterday we also discussed about 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Can anybody recollect what are the names of 6 Goswamis?
Raghunath Das.
Yeah, one by one.
Raghunath Das.
Raghunath Das.
Sanatan Goswami.
Sanatan Goswami.
Yes.
Rupa Goswami.
Very nice.
Gopal Bhatt Goswami.
Yes.
Jiva Goswami.
Raghunath Bhatt Goswami.
Raghunath Bhatt Goswami.
So we start with, in fact, Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami. They were brothers. And Jiva Goswami was their nephew, in fact. So these are the 3 in row: Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Jiva Goswami. Then we say Gopal Bhatt Goswami, Raghunath Bhatt Goswami. And then Raghunath Das. There are 2 Raghunath. One is Bhatt, other is Das. These are the 6 Goswamis. We seek their blessings. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent these five, Goswamis to Vrindavan. And those days, no train, no road, no bus was there. And they walked all the way from Puri to Vrindavana, and they excavated the places, they searched out, they found out the places of pastime of Krishna and Srimati Radharani, and they established temples, they wrote books there, and that is how what you see in Vrindavan today is just the work of these five Goswamis, the great souls, very elevated soul, and they have written so much of nice scriptures that they are in books for learning for all times to come. So then symptoms of sthit prajna, we have already studied this part, and the example was that of Srila Prabhupada, who was a man of steady intelligence. We have seen how he was. So we'll start with today's. Earlier, if you remember, we had seen all these things. This was Bilva Mangal Thakur's picture that we saw, and how the five sense organs carry away our intelligence. This is the picture. And then how a single contemplation on single, desire or single sense organ persuasion can lead to destruction of a Muni like Vishwamitra. So this was another example. Then the tortoise case. Tortoise, what was the analogy? Anybody would like to tell? What is the analogy? Tortoise, we know that it withdraws its senses and keeps inside, and whenever it is required to eat something or move, then only it takes out its senses. How does it relate to devotee? Anyone? Very simple analogy. It is given in the translation itself.
May I try, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. As tortoise, we can learn from tortoise that whenever we are hearing or seeing something bad, or which can stimulate our senses in a negative way, or beyond the rules what are the given in the Bhagavad Gita, so we can withdraw our senses from that. For example, if we are hearing somebody is giving saying any bad words, we can withdraw our senses from that, just like tortoise. And whenever there is a need to do something, then definitely, as he again came in the normal form, we can be in that way.
Thank you, Mataji. So, in fact, that is perfectly correct what Mataji just now told. A devotee should take out his sense organ and use those sense objects which has to be used in the service of Krishna, not for self-enjoyment, right? And whenever there is an object which can't be used in the service of Lord Krishna, then the individual or devotee should withdraw his sense organs. So purpose is all sense organs should be used in the service of Lord Krishna. And whichever, when he is satisfied, when his senses are satisfied, our senses will also be satisfied, because we shall derive bliss and happiness. And when there is bliss, happiness, there is peace, then of course Krishna is satisfied, and then we are also satisfied. So we should use our all senses in the service of Lord Krishna. So these are some of the pictures. We have studied analogies, beautiful analogies, and these three pictures you remember, they were about the Durvasa Muni giving, shrap to Maharaj Amrish. Second one, Vishwamitra, we can see here. And third, the devotee is always considering using all his sense organs in the service of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pad Sevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, and Atmanidram. Maharaj Amrish is the perfect example who used all his sense organ in the service of Lord. So that is what we see here. Then we saw about the Bilva Bengal Thakur, how he was carried away by those, prostitute, and that her name was, that Chintamani, and then how she became a spiritual guru of Bilva Mangal Thakur. Had she not said those words, that if you so much deeply attached to Krishna in place of mind, you would have got salvation or liberation. So that she was a spiritual master. She was a bad person, no doubt. But here she acted as a spiritual master. So this is the role of a pure spiritual master, that he directs his devotees towards Krishna consciousness. And then Lord Krishna himself is then again second time he slept and Vrindavana, and then he, made himself blind. So coming to this is we have this one 61 we have covered. Now today I will take up this one. These are all these verses which are there at the end up to the 71. They are very, very important verses, and they are very, very significant for our application also. Yeah, anybody would like to read this one?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, please continue.
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसा सङ्घस्तेजिपजायते सङ्गस्सञ्जयते कमत्क्रोधो विजायते. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is the chain how we are materially entangled in this entire world. First is contemplation. What is contemplation? When we see something, we think about it. This is the process of contemplation. This boy is looking at a beautiful lady who is carrying some pot on her head. He is thinking of her beauty, and he is thinking of maybe possessing her. So this is contemplation. After contemplation, what happens? Then he develops some kind of attachment. He wants to have this person with him. So there is some kind of attachment or some kind of exchange of love between the two. And you can see that when there is a attachment, then there is a lust. What is lust? What does lust mean? Anybody? Lust may be used in a positive sense as well as a negative sense. Anyone?
Greed.
Desire for
Greed.
sense gratification.
Intense greed. Lust is called intense.
Greed.
Greed is simple, but lust is greed one step higher. That is, lust means intense desire to possess, or lust means intense attachment or intense greed to have something. So you can see the picture, the third picture here. There is lust between the two persons. Then when the lust is, if lust is fulfilled, further complications keep on coming. But if lust is not fulfilled, then anger develops. Because if our desires are not met as we want, then we get, when there is anger. So this is dhyato vishan punsah sangate sanketesh upjayate sagas sanjayate kama or kamat krodho abhijayate. So when the lust, so there is contemplation, then attachment. After attachment, the intense greed or lust. Lust, if fulfilled, unfulfilled, it leads to anger. And if there is anger, then what happens? You can see, yes, this one also, Mataji, you continue. Krodhat bhavati samoha.
क्रोधात् भवति समोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भ्रमसत् बुद्धिनाशः प्रणश्यति. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one fall down again into the material pool.
So we saw just now that from contemplation, attachment, from attachment, lust, and from lust, anger. And when there is anger, what happens normally? We get angry, we lose the sense of discrimination when we are angry. So next stage after anger is delusion. Delusion, what does delusion means? Delusion. We are deluded sometimes. Delusion means basically assuming something which does not really exist. Right? Delusion means imagination of something which is not real. We see something, wrong perspective of seeing something. So when anger arises, delusion arises. That is, we are not able to see things as they are. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. Bewilderment of memory means, anyone? What is bewilderment of memory? Bewilderment of memory means that the power of discrimination and power of seeing things in right manner, that kind of property of brain is lost. And when memory is bewildered, memory, the word used here is Smriti Vibhramasaha, Vibhramaha. Vibhram is we become bewildered. We are lost in the, we do not recognize the reality of this situation as it is. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. Because when you do not see things in the right perspective, our intelligence, what is the function of intelligence? Discrimination. So we are not able to discriminate. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So this is the chain of reaction. These 60 to 63 both are very nice persons, worth remembering, memorizing. So how does things are beginning here? Objects of senses, because our sense organs get attached to objects of senses. If we assess and judge what objects are to be used for Krishna consciousness are good for us in the board of goodness, only we should actually use our senses for those objects only, not for what going to picture hall, cinemas, going to seeing criminal movies full of crime and violence, uh, even watching television, because there is nothing positive or spiritual about what you are watching on television. It is all distraction. Your mind is distracted from all these things. So these are objects. So one has to develop detachment from these objects. And when you are not attached, the lust will not develop. When does not develop, your strong desire to possess them doesn't come, then of course the anger will not come. And anger is the worst enemy ever. There are Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsar. Those are six anarthas which are everybody is having, harboring in his mind or heart. So we have to take care that we do not become angry. When there is angry, we do not see things in right perspective. Then the power of discrimination is lost. When power of discrimination lost, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So this is the beautiful graphic representation of this thing. When we contemplate or objects of the senses, we develop attachment. After attachment, there is lust, the strong greed or desire to possess them. If we fail to possess them, there is anger. When there is anger, we get deluded. We see things not in the right perspective, and then power of judgment is lost. That is that loss of intelligence, and then loss of intelligence leads to our fall down. So the message here is for devotees. Devotees, like the tortoise, should concentrate their sense organs only on what is useful in our devotional service. What is not useful, we should try to avoid them as much as possible. So again, how does the person who is sthit pragya walks, or how does he engages his sense organs? Anybody else would like to read this?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, please. Sorry, just.
Raga devasa vimuktyas tu visayan indriyas karan atmavasi val vidyat atma prasadam adi gacchati. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his sense through regulative principle of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of Lord. Purport, Lord.
Yes. राग द्वेषा विमुक्तेस्तु विषयान इंद्रियस चरण आत्मा वश्येर विधियात्मा prasadam adhigachati. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principle of freedom can obtain the complete mercy. So this is giving a formula how to get the mercy of Lord. Now, this is very important issue, how to get the mercy of Lord. So for getting mercy of Lord, we have to follow the instructions of a spiritual master, take initiation from him. Then because he is a representative, authorized representative or authentic representative from Parampara system, so he knows what Krishna's message is. From him, we should surrender him, serve him, seek his mercy, then we get knowledge from a spiritual master, right? And what knowledge he gives us? Knowledge that we should not get attached to the sense objects, number one. And also, we should be able to control our mind and senses and divert them or use them for the service of Krishna. So this is the message here. And mercy, as I told you, mercy of a spiritual master or a pure Vaishnava or a pure devotee is essential for progress in the path of. You will remember we mentioned about the different stages of bhakti. First was Shraddha, second was Sadhu Sangha, third was Bhajan Kriya. After Bhajan Kriya, it came Anarth Nivrati, and after Anarth Nivrati, it was, that Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, and the Bhav Prem, and the ultimately Prem stage or ecstasy, love in ecstasy for God. So these stages can be meet. Shraddha can develops from to either you take shelter of a spiritual master or you follow the instruction of scriptures. But sometimes we may deviate if we go by scriptures. But if we follow the the instructions of a spiritual master who has learned this science of Krishna from in a disciplic succession, then that has a more valid and deep-seated effect on our mind. So mercy and service of Krishna, mercy of pure Vaishnava or spiritual master, they come before Shraddha. So we have to seek mercy of spiritual master or to pure Vaishnava or pure devotee and also serve him. Then only this Shraddha develops. And when we develop in Sadhu Sangha, we seek association of devotees. Hare Krishna. When we seek association of devotees, then our then we develop taste for chanting and hearing of name, that is bhajan kriya. So, but a person free from all attachment and aversion means a strong dislike, and be able to control his senses through regulative principle of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of Lord. What are those regulative principles? Anyone? 64. What are 4 regulative principles we were taught in level 1?
No meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, and
No intoxication.
no
Professor.
intoxication.
Intoxication anytime. Even tea and coffee is considered to be, we know that it contains caffeine or which is intoxicating substance. Even garlic and onion is not permitted. These are 4 regulative principles. They control basically our mind and senses. Sattvic, we know what is the difference between sattvic and rajasic, or food, meat, or some kind of these fast foods, and these we read about these different type of foods, what effect they have on us. Food in the mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance, and what effect it has on our body, that we'll read further ahead. So we should we should accept prasadam, Krishna prasadam only, which is always sattvic. We do not offer anything which is contaminated or impure or stale or not worth presenting to Lord. So we should only take sattvic food which has already been offered to Lord. Then we get causeless mercy of the Lord. So very essentially is that we should do away with undesirable things, attachment and aversion. Both things are not required. One should keep himself detached from and use only those sense objects or objects of enjoyment which are required for devotional service of Krishna and not for. So we have to get away from both things, attachment as well as likes and dislike both. Then only one can be sthit prajna. No? Sthit prajna, if one has a strong like, a strong dislike, then he is not sthit prajna. He sees the duality of life or duality of situation equally. He is equipoised and he is in a state of equanimity. So what has to follow? Control his mind, control his senses, use for Krishna's service only, and follow the regulative principle. And regulative principle also includes chanting of holy name, fasting of on the Ekadashi days, and following the dictation of the spiritual master. These are all part of the. Then only we can earn the mercy of Lord. So how does he walk? Sense engagement. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. That is, he becomes sthit prajna. And what is this picture showing? That all the devotees are listening to Srila Prabhupada, and all they are in a state of happiness. They are chanting, they are singing glories of Lord Krishna, and is hearing his pastime, and they are satisfied. When we are satisfied, then the threefold miseries of this material world. What are those threefold miseries of which afflict us? Yesterday we discussed them. Anyone?
Adibhautika, Adidaivika, Adhyatmika, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So, Adidevik, Adibhautik, and Adhyatmik. Adhyatmik means miseries or kleshas arising from mind and body. Adidevik, which are godly sent calamities or natural calamities, and Adibhautik, the miseries caused by other living entities to an individual. So these, everything is, because person is sthit prajna, he is not indifferent to all kind of dualities, whether he is in a happy mood or in a sorrow state. So that state can be attained, and all the devotees, disciples seated here listening to Srila Prabhupada. But if that does not happen, there is a lot of attachment and aversion or strong dislikes. You can see from the second picture what kind of reaction this lady is giving. So he was not connected with the Supreme Personality can neither have transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind. And without a steady mind, there is no happiness and there is no peace. When mind is not, satisfied or at calm, peace is not there. So the basic purpose of these two shlokas is that one should be controlling his sense, organs, and mind also, and divert them to Krishna consciousness. And when this happens, then mind becomes fixed or intelligence becomes fixed, and that is the Buddhi Yoga. It becomes sthit prajna, or his intelligence becomes established in Krishna consciousness firmly. And then when it is firmly, there is no disturbance in the mind. The peace or peace develops, and when there is peace, the person feels the bliss inside. So he is composed and he equiposed. So this is another explanation what happens when then this is 68. Yes. Anyone, any new devotee would like to read? Okay.
Can I?
Yes, Mataji, sure.
Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano anuvidiyate tadasya harati prajnam vayurnavam ivamvasi. As a boat on the water is swept away by a strong wind, even one of the senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Can you give the example? Yesterday we discussed related to this verse. As a boat on the water is swept away by a strong wind, even one of the senses on which the mind focuses, even one of the senses on which mind focuses. We gave two examples yesterday. Anybody recollects what were those examples? We have just
Prabhuji,
seen this.
yoga.
Examples are two persons. Prabhuji. We just now went through this.
Vishwamitra.
Yes, Mataji.
Vishwamitra and
Yesterday we discussed Maharaja Bharat. The story was told by Bhagavad Mataji. So,
yes.
because they had perfect control over all senses in their mind. Vishwamitra, he had perfect control and he was getting stronger and stronger. Indra was scared of him. So Indra sent Menika to distract his attention or focus of meditation and attract towards her. And she succeeded because initially he resisted, but ultimately because one of the senses, the beauty of that lady, attracted him and he was swayed away from his meditation. And similarly, Maharaja Bharat, just what kind of sacrifice he did at a very early age. He gave up all his kingdom and divided his entire kingdom into four of his sons. And he left for forest for meditation. He was doing it very nicely until that deer episode and the fawn episode happened. And then he became so attached to deer that instead of meditation, his mind was always considering about the welfare of the fawn. So how he got attached? Because Lord is very merciful. Whatever our desires are there, whatever desires are unfulfilled, Lord gives us next body according to those to fulfill those desires which have not been fulfilled in this. And I gave an example of hog also. If somebody is indiscriminately eating everything, each and everything, then he gets the body of a hog so that he can fulfill his desire of eating all things. And a person exposing his body parts is very fond of doing this thing, then next birth he gets the body, the life form of a tree, because tree does not wear clothes. Just a moment. So you can see that means all senses. Amrish Maharaj was using all his senses in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Vismaranam, Pad Sevnam, Archanam, Vandanam, and Dasyam, Sakhyam, and Atmanivednam. So we have to control our senses and use all senses in the service of Lord. Then only we can be called as in a state of being sthit prajna. This is again a picture of Vishwamitra, you can see, and the analogy of the ship is given. The ship is tossing around along the high tide. So symptoms of his how he walks when a sensor is engaged. Now, living entity, this is in 67 and 68. Normally, living entity senses are restrained from one of the roaming senses and on which mind focuses. Even one of the roaming senses will carry away man's intelligence. The intelligence of Maharaja Bharat and intelligence of Vishwamitra was carried away because one of the senses was engaged. He developed affection for that fawn and deer, a baby deer, and he saw this beautiful lady in the form of Menika. So senses should be restrained. How to restrain senses then? We have to practice under bona fide spiritual master. We have already discussed the issue. And then we can become a sadhak or a devotee. When you are a devotee, you are following the instructions of a spiritual master. Then he guides us in controlling our sense and mind. Then we are a fit candidate for liberation. And what kind of liberations are there? Does anybody remember from level 1? There are couple of types of liberation. We have also discussed this liberation in earlier classes. Mukti.
Salokya, Samipya, Sayuja.
Brahman realization. Brahman.
No, that is realization of God form. Stages of God realization, those are Mataji. Shri Mataji is telling correctly. Sayuja, Salokya, Samipya, Sarishti, or Sarupya. 5 kind of mukti are there. So Sayuj is merging into them. Sarishti means attaining those opulences which Lord possesses. Sarupi means bodily features, same as Lord Krishna's. Samipya living in the same planet. and Saristi, Saloke, Samipya, uh, Sarupya, and Sayuj. Sayuj means merging into the. Mataji, you were right. But no, the impersonalists or the Brahmavadis who worship the Brahman effulgence, they want to merge into it. So they want a Sayuj type of mukti. But there is no bhava in Sayuj mukti. Mataji was asking example of a person who is having neutral rasa or shant rasa. Those impersonalists are shant. They do not enjoy the beautiful name, form, and pastimes of Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna. They do not know that taste, in fact. They want to merge themselves into them. Where is the joy? There is no happiness and joy in such a relationship. We we want a loving relationship with Krishna. Krishna is a person. He is not impersonal. He appeared on the earth. He appeared and he did lot of pastimes there. He killed so many demons. He had so many friends, and he did lot of other welfare activities for everybody. And also he had lot of pastime activity with Radharani and her gopis and her cohorts. So this is these are types of mukti. But a devotee, does a devotee want a mukti? Any of these five kinds?
No,
What does a
he
devotee
doesn't know.
prays for?
Always serving the Lord.
Very nice, Mate. Thank you. Eternal servitor. They want a devotee, pure devotee, does not want any kind of these five muktis. He wants constant, loving, devotional service to Krishna. Because a person, a devotee, when he is qualified enough to reach Goloka Vrindavan, his body is not material. He becomes, also assumes a transcendental body. And he wants to do eternal loving devotional service to Krishna all the time. But if somebody merges or somebody lives there or attains the same qualities or resides in the same loka, then where is the joy? Again, there is no joy. We want a loving within the family. We know children, parent as a parent or as a children, we want loving relationship between brother and sister, between daughter and father, or daughter and mother, and son or mother. Always their kind of relationship is involved. So devotee does not want any kind of liberation. Now, as we just now said, living entity, if even one of the roaming senses is uncontrolled, then man's intelligence is lost. When intelligence is lost, a person falls down. And of course, object, whatever is there, in that case it was. But if senses are engaged in the service of Lord, then all senses become automatically controlled thereafter. So we have to use right from morning time till we go to bed. Think of Krishna always, never forget Krishna. Do whatever. Mataji's prepare prasadam. Eat first, offer it to Lord first, then consume yourself. Take it as a prasadam. And whatever new things come in your home, whatever new fruit, new vegetable, anything which comes to, besides serving prasadam morning, evening, and offer everything to Lord. We will offer only sattvic things to Lord, which are in a mode of goodness. And there are this will come in further chapter 17. The fact is that food prepared in mode of goodness increases our lifespan. It gives our strength. It purifies our consciousness and existence. So it is very essential that we should have only sattvic food after having been offered to the Lord himself. And we will not offer anything which is not offerable to Lord, because there is a loving relationship between devotee and Krishna. So, and what does what has Lord said earlier? Does anybody remember what he wants? When a devotee offers these things to me, with devotion, I accept them.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam.
Yes, he doesn't want anything. He just wants a leaf, a flower, a water, and a fruit. There is no animal killing here involved, right? So he wants only patram pushpam phalam toyam. Yome bhaktya prayashati. then tadham bhakti uprihatam. Then he gives us devotional, he intensifies our, devotional service to him. So, yes, next one, 69. Anyone would like to read? Yes.
Hare Krishna, may
Yes,
I?
Madhu. Yes.
Ya nisa sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisa pasyato mune. What is night for all beings is a time of awakening for the self-controlled, and a time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So, in fact, my pronunciation may not be very correct, but we have to read it slow. Ya, whatever is small or large, that we have to pronounce it like it. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa disha pashyato munehe. Is it okay? When there is a bar on a letter, then that means big, bada, जिसको बोलते हैं हम. So that is ya. Ya, had it been there is no bar, then it would have been ya. Now there is a bar over it, and whenever there is a dot, then it is e. Maybe small e or maybe big e. So या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागृति संयामी यस्याम जागृति भूतानि सा दिशा पश्यतो मुनेः. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. Now, this is another quality or attribute of a person who is sthit pragya. What does day and night signifies here? That normally a living entity is engaged in material activities the whole time, and at night he is sleeping. But a person who is spiritually elevated during daytime, what he is doing? He is remembering Krishna's service. Serving Krishna and doing all kind of devotional activities all whole day. So the person who is doing devotional activities during daytime, it is day for him. But as a matter of fact, for a materialistic person who is engaged in self-sense gratification and hankering for material objects, it is basically night for him because awakening is not there. So this is just a metaphor which has been used here to create this. So the person who is awake, his entire intelligence is fixed on soul, and soul, that means Paramatma, soul and Atma and Paramatma. So always he is serving Lord in one or other mode, and he remains blissful. So that is a day for him. But materialist person, what is his intelligence is diverted towards material objects, sense gratification, economic development. He is working very, very hard to earn more and more, enjoy, satisfy his family, big house, big cars, big nice dresses. So basically, it is night for him. So this metaphor has been used. Yes, so this activity is a materialist and transist. So there are two kind of persons, or two kind of activities can be conducted by a devotee person. A materialistic person carries out only material activities, and the devotee will carry out spiritual activities which are related to service of Lord. Two classes of intelligence. Living entity, first is material intelligence. This is material activities for sense gratification. I just not told you. And activities are based on material sense gratification. He wants to satisfy. He wants to possess more and more, a bigger house. Now one car, then it should be second car. More money, higher bank balance, and all those kind of things. So these are basically, he is doing self-sense gratification by acquiring more and more material comfort and material things. But do they give happiness? Today I have got, say, iPhone 11. Tomorrow 12 comes out. Say today is 15, and the next thing is maybe 16. So are we satisfied with possessing iPhone 15? or
No.
we become satisfied. So this desire or the attachment for material objects and desire to possess more and more continues, does not stop at all. So, and that means we are never satisfied. So this cycle has to be cut. Where material intelligence lies in making himself more comfortable. Here, we do not think about God and the bliss that we can otherwise. And second is person who is bent upon the path of devotional service. He works for self-realization, and he is introspective. He does not, his vision is introspective. That means he worships the Atma and Paramatma form of Lord. He listens to Atma and he wants to do loving devotional service to Krishna. So he is spiritual. This is spiritual intelligence. So one is material intelligence, second is spiritual intelligence. So activities are for spiritual advancement. But he is not disturbed by the demands of senses, because his senses are controlled and directed towards Lord Krishna. So he becomes sthit pragya. Again, this is the meaning here. Lord Krishna, in many, many ways, he is convincing or giving the answers to Arjuna's doubt. What are the symptoms? How does he talk? What language he uses? How does he sit? How does he walk? So giving so many examples, he's clearing that how to become sthit pragya or become established in a transcendental mode. Then when you are established in a transcendental mode, then you will not consider these people who are standing up in the opposite army as your relatives or as your friends or guru or cousins. You will forget them. And because you have a religious duty to exercise here in this battlefield, fight and kill them. So this is the best. So Krishna's indication is that for Arjuna is to become sthit pragya and take the right course of things. Yes, Mataji, Riya Mataji or Swam Prabha Mata, I don't know who raised her hand. Anyone who has not read, please.
May I, Prabhuji?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, please continue, Mataji. My screen is visible to you.
Ji, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Bihai.
Yeah.
Bihai Kamanya Sarvan Yumascharati Nispriya Nirmamo Nirankara Sa Shantim Madhigachati. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all senses of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace.
Let us split this shloka into four parts. Vihaya kamanyah sarvan. We read like this. This is, each shloka has got 4 sections. There are 32 syllables and 8 syllables in each half of a single line. So, Bihai Kamanya Sarvan means one who has given up all objects of senses. Bihai means beyond, has given up. Kamanya means the desire or the objects of senses. Sarvan means all. Pumansh niha spraha. That means he is without any desire now. Pumansh nispraha. He is without any desires now. Nirmamo. Nirmamo means that it does not belong to me. Nirmamo nirahankar. Nirmamo means he does not have any attachment. He does not exercise any lordship over something. And nirahankar, he is not, there is no sense of pride in him. Sa shantim adhigachati. Such a person attains eternal peace or bliss. So this is the verse here. This is how we understand, try to understand. Gradually, if we try, we can do. This is how I know a very little of it. A person who has given up all desires of sense gratification, Vihai Kamani Sarvan, who lives free from desires. Pumansh Charati Nispraha, who has given up all sense of proprietorship, nirmamo. This is not mine. This belongs to Lord. Sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, nirahankar. Sa, he, shantim adhigachati. He alone can attain real peace. So this is in fact, a big indication for all of us to practice in our life, that we have to have a nirmamo. Pure devotee says, this is not my house, this is Krishna's house. Pure devotee says, this is Krishna's prasadam, it is not my food. So nirmamo, just let us analyze. Does anything belong to us? Does this house belong to us? Does this house, has this house not been made from certain construction materials which were acquired from the mother nature or Prakriti? Incidentally, we bought it, so we claim ownership of it, but it does not belong to us. Those elements which we used from the nature, they are God's property. We are just custodian. So nirmamo, when one develops this kind of detachment from possession or proprietorship or lordship, we say, I am this, this is my property, these are my cars, or these are my possessions, or this is my money or bank balance. It is a pure devotee has to, but through, of course, regular practice only, rise this kind of, that everything belongs to Lord. He has given me to serve him through these articles. Nirahankar, false ego. I am, what is the false, what do you mean by false ego? Anyone, any vague idea?
The ownership.
False ego.
I did it. It is mine.
Yeah, but I think that's
Self.
Thank you. Any other opinion?
Not realizing that I'm not the body. I am the soul.
That is the perfect answer, Bhati. Thank you. So this is beautiful concept.
Yeah, thank you.
False ego, we have a false ego for ourselves. We put on a good dress and people recognize us by our dress or maybe our designation or a high post, maybe a long car, maybe our financial status. People recognize this. So this is false ego. These are all, we are not when somebody asks, my name is this is my dress, this is my car, this is my house, but what am really I am, because these things are not me. I am really the soul, as Mataji just now beautifully said. So I am the soul. So this is false ego, that we are designating ourselves, forgetting the real identity. We are identifying ourselves with the body and all external features. In fact, we are the soul. And the second realization of false ego is, against false ego, is that I am part and parcel of Lord. I don't have any individuality. I do not have any separate existence without Lord. Because if soul leaves, we become senseless and we are declared dead. Or the Paramatma leaves, then we are dead, declared dead. So our real identity is soul and super soul, which grants us consciousness. So this is false ego, which we, in fact, nourish upon our desires. So that is not to be done. Yes. Here, can anybody identify who is the spiritual master in the five spiritual master we talked about?
Bhakti Vinoda Thakur, Prabhuji.
Yes, very nice, Mataji. Thank you. So there are five, in fact, I mentioned you right from excluding the present one. Jayapataka Swami Maharaj is the current ISKCON spiritual master, the highest position he is heading. Then there is Srila Prabhupada, then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, thereafter Bhakti Virod, thereafter Gaura Kishore Maharaji, Gaura Kishore Dasji, then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and the fifth one or sixth one is Jagannath Das Thakur. So these are in Parampara, these are five spiritual masters. Yes, anybody would. This is the last verse of the day, this chapter. Rather.
May I, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mother.
Hare Krishna. Esha Brahma hi sthitihi parthanenam prapya vimuhyati stitva sam stitva stitva sham antakale vibrahma nirvanam rachati. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Hare Krishna.
So this is concluding verse of chapter 2. We have seen right from the Karma Kand, then Gyan, then Buddhi Yoga, then Bhakti Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga, one of the verses Lord said, then fixed all your attention on, or all your focus on me. This is what first time Lord Krishna says in second chapter. Fix all your attention or your senses on me. That is, he before he says that you become Isthit, that is what he said in that place. Now, what happens to a person who, this is the ultimate destination of a person who attains Isthit status, right? Perfect control of sense and mind, established in Krishna consciousness perfectly. What is his status on leaving the body? That is Brahma Nirvana Rachati. How the Sa Brahmi Isthitaha. This is to be read at Ha Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuyati Isthitva Syam Antakale Api. When there is a comma like this, then it is called as Api. Brahma Nirvanam Rakshati. Brahma Nirvanam Rakshati. So here Ma and Ra are mixed up, so Rakshati is being read. So that is the way of the spiritual and godly life. So we just now said two types of intelligence, material intelligence and spiritual intelligence. One who attains spiritual intelligence becomes fixed in transcendental consciousness or Krishna consciousness. Then such a person is peaceful. He is not bewildered. He is not disturbed at all. And if one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter the kingdom of God. Ajamila case, we remember. Ajamila, by default, he was calling Narayan. He was not calling Lord Narayan at that time. He was calling his son's name. But Narayan, Lord, is so merciful. He resists to his. And another example I gave you of that rat. Does anybody remember that rat who was very fond of eating cherries? And the lamp of the in the puja room was, or the temple was going off. He thought it is
Yes,
orange
Prabhuji.
color. He thought it is cherry, and he burnt himself. And Lord was pleased and to grant him liberation, because Lord thought that probably he has given up his life to keep the flame going, right? So such a person who is established in, and even at the time of death. Now the question comes, when a person reaches the time of death, there are some persons who are in coma, there are some persons on ventilator, there are persons who are diseased, there are persons who are very disturbed in painful condition, or they are their thought is dwelling upon their property and sons and other kind of things. So focusing, and sometimes when there is a disease, the mind is very much confused, intelligence is clouded, thoughts process completely disturbed. So at that time, we cannot remember God the way it is mentioned here. Can we remember? Because our thought will never dwell on us in such conditions, because we are so much disturbed. So the best time to attain that state is now. If we do it on a regular practice basis now, we do regular chanting, do loving devotional service to Krishna, visit temple, whatever small service we can do, then that is the way we can probably remember Krishna at the time of leaving body. So this is, the Lord has given a guarantee that once you become Sthit Pragya, or you're transcendently situated, you will attain my abode. And this you will attain my abode. This Lord Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita a number of times. We'll come through it. So he is so merciful. He wants us more than us. He wants us to have us with him there. So let us use this human form of life where intelligence and vivek or this power of discrimination is given by Lord. Other forms do not have this virtue. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Attendance list Mataji has posted. And if there is any doubt, correction, suggestion or recommendation or addition, you are welcome. Prabhuji, Mataji. We come
How
to...
come, Prabhuji, Shloka 70 is not included?
Yeah,
in
Mataji, in
today's...
fact, this is already, in fact, I'll tell you, originally in these PPTs, all shlokas were not given, but I have done just to make things simple and more, appealing and interesting. If we read shloka and then read the, the translation as written by Srila Prabhupada, then our understanding as well as capacity to pronounce correctly also, begins. So that is why it is some are skipped. It is 72. I've already taken 5 days to cover this second chapter, which has 72 verses. So some are not given here. That you are right.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay.
But 60 to 63, that attachment to, a contemplation to downfall, those 2 verses have to be remembered. And even some other beautiful verses are given there, which are very, very practicable. In fact, everything is very practicable for our mundane. We do not know many things. So everything is just diamond here or platinum. But whatever appeals to you, please do remember those slokas. Like Pushpa Phalam.
Thank you.
Any questions or doubts further? Tomorrow, I'm really not very well, but tomorrow again I will take the Karma Yoga, chapter 3. So please please go through this chapter. We'll try to finish it one go, maybe in 2 days. And 24th and 25th, we may not have any classes. 2 days. I may not be available those days. So tomorrow, but we shall have chapter number 3. Please read it. Please fill all devotees may please fill the attendance.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Patri, thank you. So we close today's session. Vancha kalptarubhyascha kripa sindhuva evcha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant Koti Vaishnav ki jai. Vaishnav Brand ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna devotees and for your kind association.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanyavad.
Hare Krishna Mataji.